All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wax and Whiskey podcast. I am fully clocked out of Altamont Family Hearing. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, hearing healthcare in general, crazy patient stories. And if you're into that and you're clocked out, grab a drink. Let's dive in. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey there, everyone. This is JC. I am the bald hearing guy, and I am the host of the Wax and Whiskey podcast. And today I have something that I want to talk about, something that came up. It's been coming up quite a bit in my LinkedIn and our social medias. And I want to share with you because I've had some frustrations, some things that got me a little bit just animated, and I'm going to share the story. It's mainly going to be about Costco. So if you are an employee of Costco, if you are just someone who loves, let's say you have hearing aids from there and you love it, this story is going to be a little bit different because we're going to talk about some things that are frustrating that we see in our area quite a bit. And I hope that this is not what you're experiencing or your loved ones are experiencing, but in Altamont Springs, Florida, it's been a little bit crazy. But before we get into that, as usual in Wax and Whiskey, my last one was actually a coffee coffee episode because it was after a workout and I just had, I wanted to share that story with you guys. But today I'm actually taking it way back, and it's the first episode that I'm not doing a bourbon. What we are doing here is a little bit of scotch. We have the Glenlivet single malt Scotch whiskey, and this is the 14 year, and I am enjoying it. I did already put it over ice because it's hot. It's Florida, and this thing's actually already melting. It is too hot for me to take it straight, like like the bourbons that I've been sipping on. But give me a second. I'm gonna take a sip and let's get this thing started. So, just going talking about whiskey because the it's wax and whiskey. I've been doing a whole lot more bourbon for the last few years, but I actually started with, well, blended, and then scotch was a thing. I had a friend, his name was Ray in Port St. Lucie, Florida. There was a time that we were in Port St. Lucie, and I think he's the one that introduced me to like Glenfiddich, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was really good. And, we're just having it on the rocks like this, going from like Johnny Walker's or like blended whiskeys, which I loved, and Chivas and, um, Old Par and Buchanan's, all of these, right? So I really, really enjoyed them until I tried a single malt and went from this to Macallan to like different things that I've tried and liked over the years. And recently, so this bottle is almost gone, but I was hanging out with a friend, and he's not really into bourbon. And I was like, you know what? Let's try. I had tried this about 2 years ago. We went to Painting with a Twist. Some friends of mine, not this one, but it was, I think, the 8 year, and I loved it, or 10 year. I can't even remember. But I remember loving it. So when I went to the store, I was like, okay, I saw this one, I picked it up, and this is very smooth, guys. Like if bourbon's a little too sweet for you, try a single malt Scotch. It's different. It's a good time, but it's completely different. It's more woody. There's a little less of the sweetness going on, and yeah, that's a good time. So now with this heat, I'll be honest, it's tempting to not want to put a little bit of soda in there or ginger ale or something like that, but that's disrespectful also. So to the to a single malt scotch, that'd be something that I don't know, with a blended whiskey maybe, or I don't know, like a Jameson or something that's not like, this is a little higher end, it's a little pricier. This is to be enjoyed straight or on the rocks, in my opinion. That's just how I like it. But let me tell you guys a story. So, over the years, I've had a lot of stories about Costco. I had one that really, I would say, one of the biggest triggers that I had with my local Costco is that I had a patient who's now passed. I won't say his name. And his wife actually follows us. But I had a patient that came in. He really, really needed help with his hearing, and there were a lot of medical concerns. And I referred him out towards the end. They were desperate to, like, she really, really wanted him to hear his best. His hearing, I don't fully remember all the details, but his hearing loss was outside of what I would consider aidable. It was a cochlear implant consultation, medical consultation with an ear, nose, and throat as well. And ultimately, I was like, you know what? Like, he can have hearing aids for amplification. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he already had hearing aids. But I was explaining that his loss was so poor that, and there were so many concerns that he should see a medical doctor, right? Like, he shouldn't just be buying hearing aids. they go to Costco and they sold him a hearing aid, and he was having issue after issue. I didn't know this until way after, but he was having issues and tried different things. And they were like, they said that they could help him. I remember this person told me that, and it boiled my blood a little bit because she was like, oh, Costco said that they could help him. And I'm like, I'm a small business owner. Like, it is in my best interest to transact with a person, to get them hearing aids, to help them hear their best. Why would I tell you I don't think that this is a good fit? Like, how is that in my best interest to tell you or to tell a patient it is, it's probably best for this person not to invest in amplification because there's other concerns and other things we need to consider. Like, in what way does that trigger, I'm not trying to help you, and this person is, it's someone that I'm connected with, so she shared that with me, and I explained, like, there's no why, why, and I broke this down, without being offensive or anything like that. Like, I had to explain, if I just don't understand, like, how they have a solution that we don't. I work with the 6 leading manufacturers of hearing aids. Ultimately, he wasn't happy, and ultimately, they just sold him. That's the gist. I'm not gonna extend that story out, but that's the gist. He wasn't happy, he lost his money, and, you know, um, so that was one that I was like, "Man, I don't know, that's a little messed up. I wouldn't have done that." Then we had another patient that came in who had hearing aids, was upset. We sent him out. It was a medical consultation, and we ultimately found that he had an acoustic neuroma. I shared the story in our social media a long time ago, but this was another person that spent money, bought something, ended up having a tumor. An acoustic neuroma is a tumor on the nerve. I'm not gonna get nerdy. I'm not gonna go down that road with you guys. But this sort of story has happened quite a bit, and these happen to be medical consultations, right? Like, these happen to be scenarios that are the worst case scenario, let's say. But there's other people that just are sold things that that maybe they just have, like, wax impaction, maybe they just have, and the person that's at Costco is supposed to be a licensed hearing aid specialist or audiologist, but I don't know, the ball keeps getting dropped and dropped and dropped. So recently I had a story where the person, same thing, the person purchased hearing aids, he had returned them, came in, he was like, listen, they sold me this hearing aid, and it was a custom hearing aid for an ear that it was just outside of the range. There was a concern. Same story. We sent him to ENT. Patient's ultimately coming back. He's being cleared, if I'm not mistaken. We haven't seen him for a follow up. I know he just recently scheduled. But I shared this story online, like how, like, he bought the hearing aid, he was upset, and somebody on LinkedIn, and I won't mention this person's name. She so this person that reached out to me on LinkedIn, I think she was coming from a positive place, right? Like, she's trying to tell me, "Hey JC, I hear what you're saying online." Gist of the conversation is like, "Hey, what you're saying here could really come across as like everyone at Costco is bad, or like the people at Costco aren't trained, or and it's along those lines." And I'm like, listen, I'm sharing the stories of the things that I'm seeing in my community. And we have so many patients that start there. So many people that come to us that are upset, that aren't happy with their hearing aids, and then they're looking for something better. And then these people become cheerleaders for our practice, right? Like, they go like, I've never heard this well. I've never had such an extensive test. And I'm a Costco member. Hold on. Let me take it right back. I love Costco. Like, I'm the guy that will go up and down every aisle. I buy a bunch of stuff. I just think, like, their hearing aid department is so unlike the other things in their store. Just like, for example, like, they don't have name brand premium hearing aids. They'll have like a Philips, which makes light bulbs. They'll have Sennheiser, which do make headphones, actually pretty good headphones. What I'm wearing right now is Sennheiser. Um, but they'll have, like, off-brand as far as, like, hearing aids. Like, they won't have the industry-leading Signia, Oticon, Resound, Starkey. Like, they won't have these big name brands, right? But then when you're buying a refrigerator or a TV, they have Samsung and LG, so it's like, why don't they carry the actual product that any other audiology practice would carry, right? Like, that should be red flag 1, but the consumer doesn't know this. But anyways, let me come right back. So, it's not to say that people can't hear well with one of those products. It's just not the same thing. It's just not apples to apples, right? So, but outside of that, it's just there's clearly something very much lacking in their hearing evaluation, diagnosis, and recommendation of hearing aids. And I've had the thing before of like, oh, these people don't make commission or they don't care about commission. Give me one second. I'm going to take a sip. I honestly, man, that is so good, especially right now. Like, that is a good time. That Glenlivet, Livet, Levitt, Livet. Yeah, bucket list of my life would be for one day to go to like Scotland and have a little whiskey tour, whiskey tasting. But anyways, so really, really good. So there's clearly something wrong when all these people are being misdiagnosed, right? So in her messaging, she's saying, "Hey, JC, one of the things she suggested is, and again, and I think she's coming from a really positive place telling me this. This is someone that's a hearing healthcare provider. It's been in the industry for a long time. She said something along those lines of like, why don't you go and talk to these people? Or I would go talk to them. I later found out she was a former Costco employee. But it was something along the lines like, "Why don't you go talk to these people?" And I'm like, "That's not my job." Like, not only is it not my job, but I'm not employed by Costco. Like, I'm sharing stories, and these are stories from cool hearing aid reviews, funny things. Like, I mean, if you guys are on our social media on the Bald Hearing Guy, I have from earwax to ear fittings to real ear measurement. I have boring. I try to cover a lot of things, but the reason why I'm doing that, the reason why I'm on that platform is really just to spread awareness of hearing healthcare. And these are negative things in hearing healthcare, in my opinion. JC Soto, I'm a hearing aid specialist. I'm board certified. I serve on, as recently, I am on Florida Hearing Society's board. I am all about trying to be the most ethical, the most proficient, and trying to do the best that I can for my people. And I've built a reputation doing that. And people really, really love what we get to do. And, you know, um, I try to go above and beyond. Yeah, I'm not just here you go, this should work. Like I'm into objective based. I'm into making sure that our objectives are being clearly met and that our patients are happy. Like at the end of the day, like the most important thing, this is my baby, my business is my baby. Right? Like this nothing, I mean other than in business, that nothing matters more than like my reputation, more than revenue, more than like if someone's unhappy wants to return or anything like that, which is extremely rare for us, but like there's no fights, no questions asked, and we built a good reputation doing that. And people refer to us because of that. And time again, I see people that do come to our practice, and I'm sure other practices. If you're a practice owner, I'm sure you experience this all the time, where people come to you and then you fit them properly. You take the extra time. You do the things that maybe one of those big warehouse stores don't do or can't do because of time, and you show them a different side of audiology, and then they're your cheerleaders, and they're extremely happy. And so this person was saying like tell them or speak to them, and I'm like, why would I ever do that? Like I'm not an employee of theirs. Imagine me walking up to a store and be like, hey, I want to talk to so and so, because I often don't know who this is because their audiograms don't always have their names on it, and which I think is wrong. Actually, I think that's illegal. Like my audiogram always has my name. So yeah, like it's really tough to do. Like I'm not gonna go into the Costco and be like, hey, who's the person that saw Mr. Smith? You. How did you miss this diagnosis? Like that's not my job. Like there's I can, if I know who it is and they were doing wrong and they're doing something wrong, I can report them to the board, right? I can report and say like, hey, there's something, this person is not following the guidelines of referring out for a medical consultation when this should be, right? But even then, what's going to happen? Like it's going to be a slap on the hand or whatever, and unless someone's really really doing something that is harmful to the patient, in my opinion, being negligent is harmful as well. But anyways, so she's coming to me from this place of like, and then and of like, don't put down the entire company. You're making it sound like all Costco's bad, but in my opinion, and if you're my follower, if you're my friend, if you're my family, the opinion that I have, the perspective that I have is that Costco so far is mediocre at best when it comes to hearing healthcare. I love their produce, a lot of organic stuff. I love their electronics. They have Samsung, they have Apple, I mean, they have so many things. So nothing against Costco. Please don't, cancel my membership. But your hearing aid department is, I don't know if that's really making you guys money, then great. But man, I mean, I think people just aren't educated enough to go after those licensed hearing providers and saying, hey, you sold me a hearing aid. Meanwhile, I should have seen an ear, nose, and throat for a possible healthcare concern. Only healthcare providers, not only, but mainly healthcare providers are the ones that know, like, to go down that road and see and go down that process to report somebody. Most people, most customers, most patients would not know, hey, there was some wrongdoing. They're like, oh, it is what it is. And live and learn kind of mentality. And, maybe I lost $1,800, $2,000, $2,400 on hearing aids. Um, and then they end up going to a store that or a place of practice that's going to be going above and beyond for them and doing all the things that they need. So I just was on the Hearing Matters podcast with Blaze Delfino, who is one of the largest, I mean, one of the best podcasts that there is for audiology. And we were talking about ethics and insurance, and that was a different type of conversation. But this really just came about. I didn't speak about it then, but I was like, you know what? I do want to share the story, and I was gonna kind of keep it to myself because um it opened my eyes, like, what this person's trying to say, and I take she told me, "Hey, I've seen your content, I've followed some of the things you're doing," and that was really flattering, and I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, and thank you if you guys are the people that are doing that, or our customers, our patients, our followers, people that reach out and say like, "Hey, I love the content that you're doing, keep it up." I love that. So this long delay here is because my phone is overheating. This is take, I don't even know, 5 for the video and for the audio. My video, so I'm gonna end this story a little shorter than normal, and it's because one, I'm shooting outside, and my video camera is my phone, and my phone's overheating. For those that are just listening to the podcast, the gist of the story is that this person meant well. This person was trying to open my eyes, and I don't wanna speak negatively about anybody, and I'm not, talking about one provider here. If it's someone that I knew, I definitely would reach out and be like, "Hey, this is a little wrong." And it's happened before, by the way. I've had that issue with an ear, nose, and throat group recently that we had a big back and forth with a patient about my findings, their findings. We even spoke in person afterwards, and I was like, "Hey, I don't know what happened here." What I was reaching out and saying to that person was like, "Something may be wrong with your equipment because I just had my calibrated and we're retesting. We're getting very different results." And I as a professional courtesy, I reached out to that person. I didn't um say anything negatively against them, flame them, or put anything like that out there. But I did share the story, but without tagging the group or without tagging the provider, without tagging the anything, but still for education and sharing like this is what happened here. I'm not gonna go to any competitors. I'm not gonna go to anyone's store and be like, "Hey, this is how you could have done this better." That's just not my role. That's just not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna preach what is the best, what is the gold standard of hearing healthcare, and that's what I practice in my practice. Like that's why I went into business for myself. If I was in the same organization and there was a colleague that was not doing well or doing something that I think could have been better, then I would reach out. That's different. That's a different story. Like now we're on the same team. Costco is not on my team. They're truly just not, and I'm calling out the bad behavior because I have so many practices around me. I'm in Central Florida. You know how many seniors come to Orlando? How many seniors move down to Florida? We have so much competition. It's crazy. Yet the only offender that I hear in my area is either online companies, like things that people buy online, which is illegal in the state, and there's horror stories with that. That's another conversation. But is Costco like actually, I shared this story on social media and I tagged all of my competitors. I was like, listen, and I'm going to say it here on the podcast. You don't have to come to me. This is not me saying like my way is the only way and I'm an elitist in audiology services and none of that. None of that. I love what I get to do every day, but there's other people that do what I do probably better than I do. I want you to get the best, and that's why I'm happy to say, go to I have a Miracle Ear near me. Go to Citrus Hearing Clinic. Go to Digital Hearing Labs. Go to Accurate Hearing Technology. Go to I'm trying to think of the people that are around me. The Orlando Hearing Center. There's so many places around me. Like, go to somebody. You don't have to come to me. Go to somebody else. But because I'm not hearing bad stories from other people. I'm hearing bad stories from Costco. And at the end of the day, this is it. Some things do come down to like you get what you pay for. I know people are looking for value, looking for the best value. I will share this much. I won't get into money and costs and stuff as a business owner, but I'll tell you my cost of goods, what it cost me to purchase premium hearing aids is higher. And I've seen and I've spoken to network with other practices is higher than what you're buying those hearing aids at Costco for. That should tell you a lot. And I know someone's gonna be like, "Oh, well, but Costco has more centers, they have more this, they have more that." I used to work for Here USA, who has over 300 centers nationwide, and sometimes I would see what the cost of goods were. Yes, they have some good pricing because their buying power is incredible. They're owned by Signia, WSA Audiology, who owns Signia and Widex. Um, but I can tell you I never saw, something that this substantial where so this is probably gonna cut off that substantial where there's that much of a difference between the cost of goods. You know, Costco, their retail price is much lower than cost of goods. That should also tell you like this is not you're not comparing apples to apples, right? Like there's nowhere if you're buying a car, there's nowhere that you're gonna go and have a car for $60,000 and buy the same exact vehicle for $30,000. It doesn't happen. It can't happen, you know, and the same thing here. Like this is one of those like if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And I'm gonna end my story here. Guys, whatever it is that you do in life, it doesn't matter. I always say this like, do it with integrity, do it to the best that you can. Thank you to this person who is trying to do a positive thing. This is me not coming at her or anything like that. She was trying to do a positive thing and say, hey, you know, instead of saying all the bad, why don't you reach out? Why don't you do something good? Why don't you help educate these people? And you know, I'll end it with that. You know, the person that trained me, she was great. We were in the same organization. She trained me. She taught me everything I know. She was very empathetic, and I today am a provider who leads with empathy. I'm a provider that I connect with my patients. I try to go above and beyond for my people, and that's led to good business for me. Like I'm connecting with people and doing what's right by the people. I don't know what the moral fiber of these employees are. I don't know if they're just like, hey, this is my job. I'm clocked in. Maybe they're upset that they got to work Saturdays. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the compensation isn't that great, or I don't know. And I am telling you this. You can call me ignorant, and I'm saying that's what I'm saying on my podcast. I don't know why they take jobs in big warehouse stores to provide a healthcare service, but I do think that there is a better higher level of hearing healthcare, and it is, in my opinion, not Costco. So thank you guys. Thank you for listening. This is going to be the video is going to be in and out for this podcast if you're watching, and I apologize for that. I'm working on a better setup for when I'm at home. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you. I'm excited to continue just sharing stories. It's not going to be all negative like this. I actually have some guests that I want to bring on and have conversations about entrepreneurship. Have a drink, have a nice little bourbon. Actually, it's so hot, like my ice melted here. It's crazy. It's Florida. We're in the middle of a July. It's crazy that we're in the middle of July in 2025. This is time is flying. That is really good. And yeah, I have a lot of positive stories to share too. Like you know, this is just one of those that it really is frustrating because people think that going to like a Costco or warehouse store, you know, like, oh, I got real prescription hearing aids, not the little over the counter. Like they think that that's an upgrade, and they just don't know. Like it can be so much better. Go to a local hearing care provider in your area. I promise you that you're gonna notice a big difference from there. If you give them the opportunity, if you do business with them, if you trust them with your hearing healthcare, versus for the most part, versus the big, you know, big warehouse stores. They're I don't know what their priorities are, but in my area, the priority does not seem to be the highest level of hearing healthcare that I know and that I provide in my area, and I know that a lot of my competitors do too. So thank you guys. I'm signing out. Have a good night. And thank you for tuning in to the Wax and Whiskey podcast. Take care.